Thank you. Isn't it incredible that Dusan brought us all together here? It is absolutely incredible venue. Give big hands to him. Well done. I will be diving into AI and the new age of biohacking. The time we are living in is very interesting in terms of technological development, also scientific discoveries, and the way we are going deeper in the way how to optimize human biology, performance, and longevity. I started Biohacker Summit over a decade ago, and last year we changed from biohacking to hololife. And on my personal journey, which started from the body, from my own health challenges that I kind of got out from hacking myself back to health. That was very body-centric, focusing on the physical state of your being. But as you do go on such a journey, you discover it's not about the body at all. Because the body is the material representation of your existence. Now, if you have now this perfect body that is perfectly functioning and a perfect mind, the question is, what are you going to do with it, right? And so if you really expand your thinking, that it's not about you at all. It's not about, having the perfect biomarkers, having the perfect body and living as long as possible. Because that's a very selfish, self-centered idea. It's almost, you could say, narcissistic. The reason why we do anything is because of the impact that we can create. You are not separate from the other biological organisms on this planet or other human beings. As humans, we coordinate action together. And if you're a well-functioning cell of that larger body that we call humanity, that enables you to coordinate action in such a way that you contribute to the wider whole in a much more impactful way. So it's not about you at all. It's more about the way how you can contribute, right? Contribute to your friends and family and your workplace and eventually to society. Steve Jobs said that, we are here to make a dent in the universe. What is the dent that you plan to make in the universe? So as you focus on the physical state of optimizing yourself, and let's say you now have more hours in the day, or more healthy days in a year, or more healthy years in the decades of your life. The question is, what are you going to do with it? And it expands the thinking that it's not only about physical evolution. It's also about mental and social and even spiritual evolution. Spiritual not in religious sense, but spiritual in the sense of deeper meaning of why you do anything. And what you have here is the Vitruvian Man from Leonardo da Vinci. And in this famous illustration, you have a box and you have a circle, right? But what is key here is that the box is outside of the circle. So if you draw a circle on a human, and then you draw the box around the human, the box goes beyond the circle. And that is a metaphorical representation of what is the purpose of being human, in a way. It's to think outside the box, but it's also to expand your impact, so it's not only about you. So it's all about going from self to no self. It's about going from just self-optimization to self-actualization. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you remember that famous pyramid, the basic foundations is, food and shelter. And as you expand from there, as you, develop yourself to learn skills, to work, to express yourself, the creativity, what Maslow meant with self-actualization was not only that you materialize your skills in a way, that you're as good as possible in the thing you do. Actualization is where your skills, your purpose, your meaning aligns with the needs of the wider world. So to actualize means that your contribution is in resonance with the wider world. So in a way, it's actualized. So your work becomes actualized. One way to describe it is that your work is visible in others, right? You write a book, other people read the book, they learn new things. It makes an impact on them, they change their behavior. You teach something. So you actualize, in a way, your skills in the way that it shows as impact in others. And in biohacking, there is a lot of this kind of thinking of optimal human performance as 100% perfect, right? 100% perfect biomarkers, for example. But for most people, 100% is not even achievable. And I don't think it's even realistic that all of you are going to have 100% perfect lives and biomarkers. You can try, but I think more realistic is to find what is the 20% that will result in 80% of improvement. So what is the kind of key area that you need to focus on? What is the 20% that will result in 80% of the results? In society, 20% of people own 80% of the wealth, right? On social media, 20% of the profiles reach 80% of the followers. So in a similar vein, when you think of yourself and your body, what is the 20% in your day or the things that you do that would contribute to 80% of the results? I think that's enough. You don't need to be 100% perfect. Actually, if you try to be a perfectionist on every area, you're optimizing things that don't really matter that much, right? As you approach 100, it's almost exponential. And now the crazy thing here is that on any given moment, the 100% changes. Think of your decade from your 20s to 30s, or from your 30s to 40s, or 40s to 50s. The priorities change, right? In your teen years, you have very different priorities than, let's say, at the time when you plan to work, or at the time when you plan to reproduce and have family, or retire. And it's also the same with health. So there's this idea of perfect routines, perfect protocols, blueprints, that as if there is an algorithm that helps you to run your life perfectly every single day. But every single day is different, right? And the Zen Buddhists, they kind of try to help us realize that, try to be in the present moment, observe. Your day might look similar, you go to work, but always something has changed. Now it's autumn, the nature has changed around you. Maybe some state inside your body or outside of you has changed. So if you carefully pay attention, there's always something that's different. And when something is different in the environment, connected to your internal world, you also need to adapt. So there's no perfect morning routine or daily routine or perfect diet even. It's all contextual. There is no perfect supplement protocol. It's all contextual. And the true masters of biohacking, those are not the ones who promote themselves today. They are the ones who have lived, thousands of years ago, like the Zen Buddhist meditators, or yogis, or martial artists. Take, for example, a martial artist, for example, let's say from the Far East, from Japan or China. As much as they focus on producing extreme physical performance, they also, on the opposite side, focus on producing extreme relaxation. And it's not about more, it's actually about less. It's about eliminating and hacking away on the unessential things until you are face to face with the divine, in a sense. And in this vein, like I would say, if you think of yoga or you think of martial arts, why do you perfect the body? It's often connected to the ability to sit in stillness, to be able to observe and perceive what is going on. You perfect the body so that you have a stronger connection to the divine. So it's not about the body at all, in a sense. It's a preparation for the connection for the wider web of being. Now, if we take this idea of longevity, that we want to live as long as possible, so just before industrialization, we lived like maximum 50 years on average. Like 45 was average in Europe. When we got better access to hygiene, our life extended. When we got access to modern science and technology and logistics, our average lifespan extended. Now, there's this idea of blue zones that somehow the opposite of modern Western lifestyle, where you are not hustling, you're not stressing, you're not running around, you're not in polluted cities, you're not getting constantly emails and SMS messages and all of that, but you are somewhere in a paradise where there's nature around, there's less people, less polluted, you have direct access to the sea or nature, you prepare food with your own hands, you spend time with friends and family. That is somehow the formula how we live longer. Now there could be that kind of lifestyle, which is stress-free and more, natural dietary choices and having regular exercise throughout the day, might be the key to go from, average 80 to 100 to be a centenarian. And this promise of biohacking and health span optimization with precision medicine and rejuvenation and peptides and like different kind of stem cell therapies and injections and molecules and supplements and taking data into account, epigenetics, genetics, all of that, that somehow could extend our health. There's people out there who claim, I'm going to live 180. Okay? It's very possible. I mean, fruit flies already live 10 times longer in controlled environments. We can make rodents live 3 to 5 times longer. Why not humans? So I absolutely do believe we probably have the science and the technology and means to live longer. And you need to ask yourself, if you have now suddenly another 100 years lifespan, what are you going to do with it? But I think it's not at all about you living longer, because that is, like I kind of tried to give you a pretext, is a selfish idea. And I give you exactly the reason why I think so. So imagine how our world has changed in this industrial time. And now that we enter, the post-industrial time, where we have AI and space travel and we create synthetic life forms. The question is that if the environment changes at accelerating speed and you live longer, or we collectively live longer, what does it do to our ability to survive as species? Because our survival as species have relied on the fact that in every generation, your gene expression changes depending on the environmental signals collectively, and the positive adaptations from one generation gets passed down to the future generation. Now, if you live longer, meaning that the process of moving that information forward, the signal that helps the species to live longer, and our environment changes so rapidly that our genetic blueprint, the kind of basic motherboard of humanity is not able to keep up with it. I think we are at great danger and risk of going extinct. Unless we either die earlier and faster, or on an individual level, we are ready to transform and maybe even change our gene expression, potentially with therapies and interventions that someone might consider as trying to play God, right? That you directly modify the human body. Now, this almost transhumanistic idea is in direct contradiction with religious ideas. Because in religion, we think of the human body as untouchable. That is the creation of God. And if human tries to play God, it's not going to end well. And that's precisely why we are so scared of gene manipulation. Now, should we be scared of biohacking and all these interventions that we are doing, which are very experimental, through which we try to extend human lifespan and health span? So that's a thought I want to leave with you. Now, in terms of biohacking, personally, I'm not afraid of death. You know, I want to live as strong light as possible, contributing through my career and my work to the wider web of being. And in the times of, let's say, you take Gaudi, who built Sagrada Familia, the beautiful church, who has been in Barcelona in there, yeah? So this thing took like hundreds of years to complete. When he started working on it, he knew it's never going to be ready in his lifetime. So he had to pass on the work and surrender to the fact that someone else will finish his work. And in old times, that's how we built buildings. Like this, you know, Prague is full of those kind of buildings that took a long time to build. But nowadays, when we build buildings like companies, we try to exit it in like 5 or 10 years. We don't have a 100-year plan, not even like 500-year, not to mention, right? So what is your plan if you think of your contribution as 500 years and you're going to be dead? What are you going to do that you live a life that is beyond your lifetime, that it contributes to something bigger than you? And that's the no-self idea and aspect and idea of longevity. We all, you know, want to live healthy, right? Euphoria is the Greek word euphoros, to be healthy. Now, this is what we ultimately seek in a way. And when we think of health span, having healthy years of life, you know, to be healthy is to be euphoric of life, to be euphoric of the work that we do. I think that's very much what we are trying to reach. Now, when we think of changing the slide to the hero's journey, all of us go through this archetypal story that is in all movies, you know, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, you name it. They all have the same blueprint. That you are just an ordinary person, and then something challenges you. You're called to adventure. And then, as you know, let's say you get on this biohacking journey and you meet your kind of idols. Those are your mentors in a way. And this new journey, this new adventure will challenge you. And those challenges eventually lead to some kind of conflict or some kind of like enormous challenge. And then you're finally tested if you're ready. And then you either die or you're reborn as the hero, right? Like Bilbo Baggins becoming the ring bearer. Now, or, you know, just a Padawan becoming the Jedi. And this is what kind of biohacking in a way looks like. And it's full of trials and errors and challenges and lessons learned and overcoming something like a disease that challenges you to potentially become, you know, a more complete, more whole being. That's what hololife is all about. Holo, Greek, holos, whole or complete. Now, what you see here is a geometric representation of our universe. It was published in the Scientific American by the physicist Garrett Lisi. And it's a model that predicts all subatomic particles, including the ones we haven't seen, geometrically. So it kind of predicts their position in like relation to all other atomic particles. And this is this 8-dimensional representation seems to be a mathematical foundation, one way to look at it, in a Pythagorean way, of our universe. And if this theory is correct, we will detect particles that are already predicted by this model. Now, if you think of the human body with all these biomarkers and variables outside and inside of you, similarly, that's a complex interaction of different variables that are in some kind of harmony and relationship to each other. The human body with its biomarkers, metabolites, proteins, hormones, gene expression, etc., and the way it translates to organ systems, to tissues, to cells, to metabolic pathways, that complexity, in a way, is the mirroring the complexity of the universe itself. there's this idea that the human brain is as complex as the universe. And when you go deep into every single cell, every single atom, there's empty space that mirrors the macrocosmos, which is the universe. So our scientific method has focused mainly on reduction, of reducing human health into single variables. So we try to predict health from things like cholesterol or things like fasting blood glucose. Those are, great abstractions, but they're not accurate representations of the complexity. So they miss something. They're not able to grasp the intricate details of the complex interactions. One thing that I've said is that you're a holobiont. So that's a superorganism in the end of the web of life. So you are right here, and you integrate the web of life all the way back in the beginning of life on this planet. The bacterial evolution, if you look at it, you are a multicellular organism that coordinates action in a very complex way with organisms in your body, you can call it the microbiome, that outnumber your own individual cells. So there's like 10 times more bacteria in your body. So in a way, there's more alien organisms in your body than your own individual cells, and that coherent symbiotic coordination is what keeps you alive. And we integrate that web of life. That's what we also eat. So the idea is to eat, as diverse as possible from this web of life. And the ancient eukaryotes that migrated in the center of a single cell, that's the mitochondria that you try to optimize when you take NAD. So I find it very fascinating that you are an integrated ecological system, a fractal representation of self-similar evolution. Now, if we take AI and neural networks with input tokens, so when you write something to ChatGPT, and then there's all these hidden layers, and the model size and the layers and all of that determines, it's trying to predict the future. And the human body, in a similar way, and the human brain is a future prediction engine. You're constantly predicting the future, and this is exactly what keeps you alive. You're able to cross the street without being hit by a car. Now, this ability to predict the future is what makes us function, in a sense. Now, neural networks are very similar to that. And what I've been thinking about is how to unify neural and natural and artificial intelligence. In scientific terms, the key instruments that we have, like the microscope that enables us to see on the microscopic world into the microcosmos, and then the telescope that enables us to observe celestial objects, to look at the macrocosmos. So by studying celestial objects, we have discovered the atomic particles, like the different elements in the element table here. And with microscopes, we have discovered all these discoveries in genetics and human biology. Now, what AI is kind of like a similar lens, like the microscope or telescope. But what it sees is not reductionism, it sees complexity. It's an instrument that sees complexity at a level that the human brain is not capable of on its own. So science decodes the universe into these single variables and the complex interactions of them. Now nature, behind which there is kind of the fundamental architecture or mathematics that gives the laws how this whole universe functions, we understand that one principle of that is harmony. That the harmony of different interactions in ecosystems, and when you think of medicine and what is like a perfect set of biomarkers, we are talking about homeostasis, which is basically the same as balance in the human body. We try to strive for balance. And the body is doing itself a really pretty good job in trying to regulate balance physiologically. So in a sense, we can almost see that we, as we come out of nature, we are almost like the sensory organs of nature that sees itself. So and then we evolved technological extensions of ourselves, like microcomputers and artificial intelligence, that enables the cosmos of the nature to observe itself in an even more intricate detail. So, like Carl Sagan said, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself, to see itself. And these technologies that we build, those are like amplifiers or extensions of our capabilities. It's almost like bacteria that is sending, biochemical messengers from your gut into your brain. So in a similar vein, we use computer networks, and now with the help of neural networks, to communicate even more in an even more sophisticated way than ever before. So the way I see AI, which is when we train these models, what do we train them on? Mainly on human output. What we produce, right? You produce text, images, videos. Then we train these models, and we build these neural networks so that it can predict the most likely outcome, or the next token, in a sense. So what is it? It's collective intelligence. So our collective intelligence is reflected back to us through the AI machines that we built. So it's a very human thing. It's not separate from us. It's an extension of our capabilities. But like Marshall McLuhan said, we become what we behold. We shape our tools, and then our tools shape us. And this is what is happening right now. Now, Pablo Picasso said that it takes a long time to become young. And we can see that, as we are becoming older, the question is how to become younger in one lifetime. Now, as you can see, the system is breaking down. It's been breaking down already since before the pandemic. And in some countries that are trying to spend as much money on healthcare, they're actually doing worse, like US. Now, it seems that healthcare has failed in its ability to keep on extending our lifespan. So we need a new strategy, we need a new approach, right? In terms of lifespan and health span, if you look at a typical lifespan, you spend about 87% more or less healthy. But then 13% you will spend with illness. And if you don't make space for wellness, eventually you will have to make space for illness. The health span obviously is more important than lifespan. We don't want to keep you on life support in some machine alive. We want you to be functioning outside of the healthcare system. You don't want to be part of the healthcare system as long as possible. Because that's a cost on society. It's a cost to you. It's the cost to the pension system. It's the cost to your parents and to your children. So in terms of having healthy years in your life, that creates that quality of life impact through not just higher functioning and economic output, but also meaning to be able to be produced. As we get older, I'm now 43, the number of comorbidities go up exponentially from here. So you will most likely have multiple chronic conditions overlapping with each other. If you live more than 65, 64% have more than one chronic condition that are listed here. And behind them, we have lifestyle factors. Chronic low-level inflammation, chronic oxidative stress, chronic insulin resistance. All things that you can potentially affect with lifestyle choices. Now, the only thing that really is able to help us with lifestyle choices, I would say, is what comes from wellness economy. Wellness economy, which is 60% of global healthcare expenditures. It's much bigger than pharma. This is what this industry is part of, that we call biohacking, and it's growing rapidly. Obviously, in terms of biohacking and health optimization, there's all these different, very pragmatic, practical tools that we try to use to optimize health and performance and productivity. But as you get older, you become more interested in optimizing health outcomes, right, and life outcomes. Now, biohacking is growing 19% annually compared to wellness, which is 7%, that grows faster than pharma, for example. And we can see that direct-to-consumer lab testing, wearable integrations, different ways to enhance productivity and wellness integrations, those are the driving things, and this will go absolutely vertical as we go forward from here. US is obviously a dominating market, the biggest one, but Europe is right there, right next to it. The big challenge in Europe is the regulatory environment. Maybe it's an opportunity, but it's also a challenge with very strict medical device regulation, very strict data protection laws, and then strict device innovation and also food, novel food legislation, I think, is one of the absolutely most idiotic laws ever done, because it says that anything that existed before that was not commercially available before 97, like you can't sell it without applying for a license. Now that would be great if the regulation works, that you can like pass through things very quickly, but it's very expensive and it takes a lot of time, and the whole system is completely clogged. And then we have the AI. So Europe now, in its wisdom, decides to regulate artificial intelligence, and meaning that in 2027, to give health advice through AI is very strictly regulated as high-risk category. It comes with a lot of disclaimers. So it means that if you want to provide AI services in Europe for absolutely anything, you need to spend a lot of money and you need to prepare a lot, and you need to have a lot of staff that is basically putting the measures in place to guarantee that the AI is not giving bad advice. I mean, the goal here is noble, right? They want to protect people, but are they, really protecting us from? What are they protecting us really from? If we can't innovate, if we can't iterate, if we can't create things at a rapid pace, while everything that is outside of European Union can, everything that's in US, everything that's in Asia, China, they have an advantage, and they're just going to go so much faster. But at the same time, also these American and Chinese, they won't be able to come to Europe very easily because they need to align with these regulations. Now, the opportunity that I see is the combination of personalized wellness, biohacking, and digital health. So that's the longevity operating system. The convergence of three massive markets that are basically fueled by wellness economy that I estimate to be total 1.2 trillion market. Now, the move from reactive sick care, which was held in hindsight, to predictive healthcare and preventive healthcare, the true healthcare system, because the current system is a sick care system. It's not interested if you're healthy. It's only interested if you're sick or you're about to get sick. But in the wellness side, we are interested in you when you are healthy. And we are interested in potentially predicting things from out of these models that might be risk factors in 10, 20, 30 years down the road. But the thing is that you need to pay for it. The government is not going to pay for it, although it would make a lot more sense for them to invest in prediction. But they don't. It's only 0.65% in the European Union on average per person that they invest in prevention. Now, personally, I've been working on optimizing my biomarkers for over a decade, and here are some of the results that I've been able to achieve in reducing my heart disease risk, my diabetes risk, the risk of becoming an old man. So this is systematic improvement. This is not just some random variation that comes through this closed loop system of optimizing myself with data. Now, what I see, what we're moving into is actionable biomarkers. These are the new KPIs. These indicators that we can potentially use that have high efficacy and accuracy, that you can measure them. They respond very well to lifestyle changes and supplementation and interventions. So therefore, also they're meaningful and also scientifically validated. Some of the most, reliable ones is VO2 max, blood sugar regulation, low-level inflammation, body composition metrics, and heart rate variability. Now, emerging tests like epigenetic testing is interesting, but arguably it might not change the world as of yet. Because when you get your biological age, my question is, what are you going to do with it, right? You're now 3 years older or 5 years younger than your predicted age. What are you going to do with it, right? So the question is what is practically useful to implement right now? And I find nutritional biomarkers way more useful. So we developed this test, the Holo Habits nutrition test. And it's looking at circulation and performance, cognitive and mood, energy metabolism, muscle growth and recovery, and cellular function, hormonal balance. By looking at the specific nutritional markers that you can actually understand, it's not some complex thing that you have no idea what it is and you need a doctor to interpret it. It's things like magnesium. It's things like omega-3 fatty acids. It's things like tryptophan. It's stuff that you can buy from the store and ingest, or what is in your food. Now, what we built is an AI that connects this data set, and actually any lab result, you can take a photo of any lab, and then it can give you personalized guidance. And then we build a more complex system, almost like a deep research system for specialists who are then able to very quickly wrap their idea around someone. So you can be a coach or a nutritionist or even a doctor, and you can wrap your head around the complexity of that human being, kind of that, holobiont, in a rapid phase, without like going through papers and tests like that cost like thousands of euros and time. And then what we did, we developed something called the Western Lifestyle Index, because I think the threat of our generation is the Western lifestyle. Western lifestyle is a swear word. Being a Western and living in that, lifestyle means that you're going to die diabetic, and you're going to have like multiple chronic conditions, and you're going to be absolutely miserable. And basically the idea is that you want to live inside the Western world, but not be impacted by it, right? So what we developed is an algorithm that is able to detect aspects like dietary impact, impact on the metabolic impact on stress and recovery. On these 3 dimensions, it then combines the wider index to understand how you have been impacted by Western lifestyle. So I can look at your blood, I can look at your biology, and I can immediately tell you how you look like compared to other people. So the crazy thing here is that people who think they're eating healthy, they might be absolutely average or absolutely worse compared to others. And I've seen people who are carnivore getting good results, but I've also seen people who are vegan getting good results. So we often have all these fights and competition, like what diet is the best intervention. But there is no perfect diet. Every single person is different, and what is good for you is very highly contextual. So for that reason, we built the holobiont AI that is able to wrap its complex mind around you. And then the HoloHabits app, which is the user-facing system. And in the AI, we combine 2 methods: neural networks, which is the dominant artificial intelligence approach right now, and then symbolic AI, which actually preceded neural networks. It was developed by NASA for military and space exploration reasons. And it is something that IBM and many researchers on the field believe that when we combine neural networks and symbolic AI, we reach our general artificial intelligence. So we are building general artificial intelligence in understanding human health and well-being by making the AI more accurate in the way it produces advice in terms of health and well-being. So obviously, there is a nice interface and all of that, but I want to show you like a little demo of its functioning, in a sense. And this should now play. So what you see here is the Holo Index. And in the Holo Index, you got like all these, different markers, and you see the reference ranges, and you have all the information about it. So that's something that many lab tests, in a sense, provide, right? Like what you should, do, what you should not. Some of them are more medical, some of them are more lifestyle connected. Now, then there is also a social media for sharing lifestyle practices, like exposure to sunlight or grounding or eating healthy food. But when you enter the AI, you can ask a question like, analyze my biomarkers. And what it's able to do, it's able to wrap itself around your biomarkers, and also it has the ability to take photos of your lab results, your face for your skin analysis, for supplements. You can take images of barcodes, and every dish that you eat, and over time, it has long-term memory. It learns about you. So in my case, for example, I have low selenium. That's the only marker that is outside at the moment. And there are some things that are a little bit elevated, but those are actually beneficial, like omega-3 fatty acids. So one recommendation might be to have more Brazil nuts or branched-chain amino acids. So then I can ask it to make me a meal plan, taking into account these. So imagine you have a nutritionist that is then designing a plan for you that is bespoke and specific. So it knows that I'm on a low-carb meal plan because it learns about me over time. So it designs, here an example for a breakfast or lunch or dinner, and what snacks might be ideal. And so that's amazing, but every day is different, right? So as it has access to your biometrics and nutritional information, what you have been consuming, over time it gives you different types of recommendation depending on the context. So give me workout plan. I'm now in Prague. It knows when the sun rises. It knows when the UV index is highest. It knows when the sun sets. It knows the air pollution. It knows at what time of the day it's great idea to go for a run outside and when it's a great idea to actually stay indoors. It knows when you can synthesize as much vitamin D from the sun. So it's connected to this idea of circadian rhythms. So it's a circadian advisor as well. And as you can see here, it is producing me a deeper understanding of the nature's forces around me. So it's connecting the environment specifically with my biomarkers and my preferences and all of that. And then it recommends me to do a high-intensity interval training session in the morning. And when the UV is highest, in this case, it's actually recommending muscle gain. In the afternoon, actually, like your blood flow is highest, your gains are more likely. In the evening, it's recommending me some yoga poses. And then I can take something like a photo of a food. And this dish, I think I actually took this photo here in Prague. I actually did, when I was here last time. And it can, from a single photo, it can understand what is in it, how much calories, proteins, fat, carbs. It knows that I'm low in selenium. It knows what I'm getting from it. It also thinks that in terms of this dish, there's ways to enhance that based on my biomarkers. And then I can take something like a photo of any kind of laboratory result. These are not my results, but just to show you that it's possible to put any lab, any report out there to it, and it can then provide you in any language understanding and key observations. So actually this person seems to have a fatty liver disease. This person should take N-acetylcysteine. And it's looking at liver health, uric acid, etc. Now I find it very fascinating what is possible with these tools now. And over time, it has long-term semantic memory. So it remembers like a human being, key facts about you over time. It can calculate hundreds of biological derivative markers out of everything that it observes. So it combines traditional algorithms and technology with artificial intelligence and neural networks. And I can also ask about supplement interactions, and it has access to academic research on interactions between supplements and medications and drugs and other supplements. It can create you a workout plan and show you exactly how to do those things. It has access to 300,000 nutritional items, 13,000 mainly body workouts. It has access to 213 million academic journals ranked by citation count and journal rank. So the combination of verified information with neural networks' ability to narrate that, connection to high contextualization to every single user, is the way how you can create a truly bespoke, personalized plan. And I want to show you, like, just quickly what I did for wonderful organizers here. If this thing is willing to connect, there's like some network challenges we have had. Let's see if it's going to, okay, I need to press that button. That button here, let's go, boom. So yesterday, I asked it to recommend me Powerlogy products based on my biomarkers. So what I see here is like Powerlogy's organic almond cream, upgrade organic cacao, MCT oil, the pistachio cream, and extra virgin olive oil. Then I asked it to explain why. So it's able to connect it to my markers and specifically tell me why these things would be a fantastic idea. And I'm a biohacker, and I learn constantly new things from this. I can ask accurate information on the nutritional information on these products. And then ultimately, I can design my morning, my breakfast, my mid-morning, my lunch, incorporating these products. Now, we all, as consumers, we go online and we buy these products and we ask ourselves, should I take this or not? What can I combine with it? What is the good recipe? I'm a vegan or I'm a carnivore. What would be like an optimal combination of these things? So that's what I want to show you. And if you want to try this thing out, it's completely free. Scan that QR code for Whole Habits and download the app. You get access to the most advanced AI for health and wellness information. And we got some of these tests here. We got like 10 of them here. You get it immediately. The first ones who buy it, they get immediately the box here. The rest gets shipped, home. And I will personally jump on a call with you. I'm going to go through your results. I'm going to tell, based on your biology, how much you have been impacted by Western lifestyle. We're going to have a conversation. And then you can fully customize every single day the health optimization, biohacking advice, workouts, diets, all of this to your own unique specific needs. And it's crazy how cheap these things can be nowadays done. It used to cost like thousands of euros just to get those over 30 nutritional biomarkers. And now these things are becoming exponentially affordable to consumers. So just to conclude, AI is not a threat. AI is a reflection of our collective intelligence. AI is something that is connecting us to our deeper, meaning as humanity to survive on this planet. It might actually be the only way through which we will survive the extreme challenges this planet and our society is facing in terms of environmental pollution and increasing complexity in our environment and like all kinds of instabilities in financial system, in the living world we are in and society. And I do believe that these new instruments are actually our friends through which we can evolve and reach what we truly strive for in terms of making meaningful impacts in our lives. By connecting the scientific method and nature, which are not enemies of each other, so holistic nutrition and health is not the enemy of the healthcare system. We need both. Those need to work together. The people from both sides need to work together to create a better world, because we face extreme challenges like degenerative diseases. And it starts with every single individual, of course, to experiment on themselves and trying, to figure out, to express themselves and become an expert in their own health and well-being. So no one else is going to be as interested in your health as you are. No one, not even AI. You need to, be fit to carry the fire of humanity, to be Prometheus, to rise to become, responsible of your own actions and the way you contribute and the way you carry yourself. And it starts with every single thing that you're going to put in your mouth, right? So the machines are an extension of nature. Those are the instrument through which nature expresses itself through us. And with that, I do believe that AI-driven preventive health is the future. This personalized medicine is accelerating exponentially. This continuous monitoring enables real-time contextualization of this data. With wearables, with nutrition analysis, with AI analytics, we can truly democratize access to prevention for billions of people on this planet. Those who don't have access to healthcare can have access to cheap computer algorithms that might be able to actually, based on latest studies, are surpassing, experts in their ability. There's many studies on it. So thank you very much. May euphoria be with you. Thank you.